Not yet, at least. I hope you aren't easily chilled. Do you think someone might see us?
Maybe.
Do you care?
Not at all.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy King Calf, and we are here with an interesting one. I have been playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. I never thought I would play it, but I did. I'm about 10 or so hours in, and I have some thoughts about the game. I don't think it's as much of a train wreck as we all thought it was going to be, but I don't think this is the game that's going to save Ubisoft. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get into it. But before, as always, hit that follow button, leave a comment, leave a like, share with your friends, all that jazz. Check out my previous video on Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm still obsessed with that game. And let's get into the review / early impressions of AC Shadows. So man, to say this game has been surrounded in controversy, I think is an understatement. This game has just been getting absolutely shit on by users, by the media, by all of these things, and for good reason. I mean, this game pretty much was disrespecting, the Japanese historical culture. Like, it's not. If you look at games like Ghost of Tsushima, that really honored how it was in ancient Japan with their full history, with the clans, the samurais, all of that. And then you look at this game that has, LGBTQ representation and all of that jazz. Like, of course there's going to be controversy, especially nowadays. I don't think it's nearly as bad as people have been blowing it out of proportion with, but I do think that it is a problem. I know the Japanese government has been going after this game as well. I think this game is going to flop tremendously in Japan, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I mean, you gotta consult with the proper people in order to, get your historical facts right. Now, Assassin's Creed's never been the most accurate historical representation, but just basic things like the culture and, like using Japanese architecture instead of like Chinese ones, like it just, simple things like that can really go really far in terms of people respecting the authenticity of the world that you built. And I think that's one of the good things about this game is that the actual map and like location, how it looks, how it plays, all of that, I think is really stellar. I think the world is really fun to traverse through. The fact that because you're like in fields, I feel like you're riding your horse more than like parkouring, which is kind of weird because Assassin's Creed always had the best movement system. That's like what they were known for, especially in the earlier games. But I think that the actual traversal and how you move around and how the map looks and how the seasons look, I think is pretty top notch, to be honest. There's a lot of craft and passion that went into like actually the scope of the map. Now, what's in the map is one thing, but how they just built this world, I think Ubisoft did a fantastic job. It is a beautiful, stunning landscape. I think Ghost of Tsushima did do it better just because of the art style of that game, but I think that this is a really good representation of how, the ancient Japan landscape looked, right? So I'll give him props for that. I do definitely like how the world is a lot more interactive. There's no like clutter on your map, at least not yet for me. And you can turn off the waypoint stuff so you can just actually explore by yourself, and the game does want you to explore because how you level up and get further into your skill tree is by getting knowledge points, and by getting knowledge points is you actually have to gain knowledge of the place around you, look at signs, look at buildings, all that stuff. And I think it really does help keep the player engaged rather than just having this waypoint and just how it was in like Valhalla and Origins and all those RPG Assassin's Creed. So I definitely think that they did a good job. But in the end, like, I'm not gonna lie, man, this is still a Ubisoft game. There's something about Ubisoft games where you just know it's by them, even if you don't know the franchise, even if you don't know what game you're playing. And it's just because it's just so cookie cutter. And I was really hoping that this game was going to break that mold and just be a little bit more interactive, which, you know, to be fair, there are times when it does have that interaction. Like, you hear people talk, and then when people talk, it tells you about something that's happening on the map, and then you can go there and discover it yourself. And that part I like, but just how the progression and how everything is just still your classic Ubisoft refusal to evolve with how games are, you know? Like, we have games like Ghost of Tsushima, we have games like Elden Ring now, like, where the player is actually supposed to engage with the environment around them. And I feel like this game still just likes to clutter your UI and clutter your map a little bit, and it's unfortunate, but this is definitely still better, much better than how it was, especially in Valhalla. Oh my gosh. When I saw how the map looked in Valhalla, I didn't even play Valhalla because I just haven't really been into these Assassin's Creed games. But when I saw those maps, holy shit, dude. That's just chaos. And also the story, I definitely want to talk about the story. I definitely feel that this was a really big missed opportunity. I think this game has a stellar, strong opening. I think the opening of this game, when you play as Yasuke at the beginning, then when you play as Yahweh afterwards, and your village gets attacked, I think that whole part is really, really good. I think leading up to what, you know, I'm not going to spoil it, but what causes this revenge tale, I think all of that was made very well. I was really engaged in the story. And then right after that, it just kind of slows down, which is fair because of how the story is going. And then once Yasuke and Yahweh meet, the conflict that's supposed to be between them is already resolved. And I think that was a huge missed opportunity to have two protagonists that you play as, and they're actually at odds with each other. Because Assassin's Creed did do two protagonists before with Syndicate, but they were brother and sister. There was no issues, there was no like quarrel between them. But this could have been a really cool thing to show the samurai's perspective and the shinobi perspective, and how they intertwine and how they are against each other. I think that would have been a sick story, and you kind of have to choose which one you want to do, because like you're choosing a side of who you think is in the right. So I think that was definitely a really big missed opportunity. But even still, with what we got, the opening is strong, but afterwards I just like found myself slowly not caring about the story. Like, I was still engaged. You know, play this game in Japanese, do not play this game in English. Okay, I didn't even try it in English. I was always gonna play it in Japanese just because like I like the authenticity of, you know, I'm in ancient Japan, I should be speaking Japanese. But the clips I've seen of the English dub, oh my gosh, like, hire me. You can hire me and I will do 1,000 times better job than like most of these actors. I don't know if like they were just given terrible direction or if they just hired like amateurs on the street, but man, some of this voice acting in the English dub is absolute ass. So play this game in Japanese. I don't even speak Japanese, but you can tell when there's proper acting just by the tone and you know the expressiveness of how the words are said in the Japanese dub, and you can tell that the voices are just 1,000 times better. So you play it in Japanese. You know, the dialogue, I think some of the dialogue's written okay, but sometimes it's kind of cringy. You know, I think Yasuke is definitely, he's like a second fiddle. Like, Yahweh is definitely the main character of this game. I don't know why we have two protagonists, to be honest, because I just really do feel like Yasuke is completely just, he just shouldn't be here. Like, he is so out of place. And I'm not just saying that because he's the only brother in the freaking game. I'm saying that because his story just doesn't seem like it matters. Like, everything about him, especially once the conflict that's in the beginning is kind of solved, I just feel like there's no reason for him to be here. Maybe they could have had him as like a side character, but I really, really do not think that you need to play as him. Sure, he is the guy that you play as when you want to like forget stealth. I'm going in, bashing through doors, and just kicking ass. Yeah, he's fun in that sense, but I think the game really does shine in its stealth, and you get all your stealth options with Yahweh. So and I definitely also think that the central plot is around Yahweh, and the reason why all like the story is progressing is pretty much because of her and the actions that she does. So I think Yasuke is very forced. I think that there was a missed opportunity of how they could have intertwined him with Yahweh's story, but yeah, I don't know, man. Just the story was just not doing it for me. I know maybe it'll get better as time goes on, but just from what I was reading from other reviewers, they didn't really like it. They thought that the conclusion was pretty anticlimactic. So, maybe that's just their opinion, but from what I'm seeing, I can definitely see that. But yeah, I'm just kind of disappointed. And then like when you go to a game like Ghost of Tsushima, I'm sorry I keep talking about Ghosts, but that story is just incredible. And it just sucks because we've been asking for Ubisoft to make Assassin's Creed in ancient Japan for like decades, okay? And they finally did it, but they weren't the first to do it, and they're not the best at doing it. So maybe if Ghost didn't exist, maybe we wouldn't, compare it as bad, or if, Rise of the Ronin wasn't there, even though that game had its own problems. But yeah, there's just something about how this game story is told and everything is it's just not that great. And to be honest, I said the stealth is pretty fun. I think the stealth is actually pretty good. You definitely want to play this game on the highest difficulty just because the AI is pretty garbage. I think that the AI definitely shines at the higher difficulties. So if you want to have a challenge in stealth, I definitely recommend you play the extreme difficulty or whatever it's called. The combat, not really a fan of the combat. I think, I didn't play Origins. I played Odyssey for a couple minutes, and I didn't play Valhalla. What made me not like Odyssey was, for one, I picked the guy, and his voice just pissed me off. Like, apparently the girl was who you should have played as, but whatever. I just didn't like how my hits felt like there was no impact. And I think that that's better in this game, but then when you play games like Devil May Cry, or you play even Monster Hunter, where you feel like when I smack this guy with a sword, I feel like I'm like cutting through, or Ghost of Tsushima, when I feel like I'm like stabbing this person, I just feel like that oomph is missing. I do also, I'm not really a fan of like the repeated actions of the characters. I feel like when you're fighting enemies, they're just doing the same couple moves, and it's just memorizing when to parry, when to dodge, and then you counterattack, which I just feel like there's no challenge to it. Like, I was fighting people who are like 3-4 levels higher than me, and just because I know to press L1 when it tells me to press L1 with the blue light, and then press circle to dodge because the red light, like once it gets to that, I just felt like I was just kind of just abusing the system. And I feel like that's going to get even worse once I get better equipment. But yeah, I think the executions look great. I think the animations look good, but I just don't like how there's it feels like a lack of impact. And I don't like how, how just kind of janky it all feels, if that makes sense. But the stealth is fun. I really do like stealth in games. Like I like Splinter Cell Chaos Theory is one of my favorite games of all time. I really like the Dishonored series for their stealth. There's nothing more satisfying, in my opinion, than going through an entire like fortress and not being seen by anybody, but killing everybody. I think that's one of the most satisfying things to do in games, and I think you have that option in this game. But I just feel that it's weird. I think just how the game is designed just kind of holds back the stealth for me, but I do think the stealth is really fun, and that's what made me want to play as Yahweh way more than Yasuke. Like, I think Yahweh's character is better, I think her ambitions and her reason for fighting are better, and I just think her gameplay is a lot better. She's not the best in combat. Like, you're gonna get smacked around if you try to fight like a higher level person because they'll one-shot you, but just, you don't need to one-shot them. You can just assassinate them, right? So I definitely think she's a lot more fun. I also do recommend turning on single assassination, just because, like, bro, if I'm putting a knife into your jugular, I don't care if you're level 10 and I'm level 8, you should be dead. So I recommend turning on single assassination just because it feels more authentic, and it also just is a lot more fun, like getting that single stab because you were able to navigate around and not be seen and get the jump on somebody. I think it's just way more fun than stabbing you to half health and now I'm just forced in this combat encounter. So yeah, the game is fine. I think the game is fine. You're an Assassin's Creed fan. I think you're going to be very happy with what the product that you're getting here. But for people who maybe stepped away from the series for a bit, or maybe they are looking to jump into ancient Japan, they played Ghost of Tsushima, now they still have that itch, I think you might be disappointed. But that's my opinion. Like, listen, you might love this game. I think this game is going to be very mixed. I think some people are going to absolutely hate it, and I think some people are going to absolutely love it. Aside from the controversy, aside from the historical accuracy of like Yasuke and everything, and you know, his relationships he can have, aside from all of that, I think this game is just very mediocre. And I do wish that we got a better product, and I think that Ubisoft just really needs to start taking risks with their games, because this isn't cutting it anymore. I'm like 10 hours in the game, and I feel like I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same type of side quest. I'm doing the same type of exploration. I'm doing the exact same type of looting, the fortress clearing, all of that shit, climbing up towers. I feel like I'm doing it all the time the same, you know? Like, I feel like I'm just stuck on repeat with this game, and I feel like I saw everything already. I'm still going to complete the game. I didn't buy it full price. I just got 1 month of Ubisoft Connect because like I was not going to buy this game full price. And I'm going to try and beat it in this month. I'm not in a rush. I'm going to try and beat it this month. And then I'm going to cancel my Ubisoft Connect and never play this game again. But who knows? Maybe the DLC will be fun. And by then, the inevitable like 85% off Assassin's Creed sale will happen. And I can actually purchase this game for like $20. But until then, I'm going to try and beat it in this month. If I don't beat it this month, I'm still going to cancel and I'm not going to finish it because I really don't feel like this game is full price. You do get a lot of content. Like, I think the story is, what I read, is like 50 hours. And then if you want 100% anything, it's like an additional 100 hours. You're getting some content with this game, which is nice. But it's the same content that you've been fed, you know? Like, yeah, it's an all-you-can-eat buffet, but the only thing they're serving is pizza. So you're eating only pizza. That's how I think that this game is like. So it's up to you if you think that you want to jump in. But if I was going to give this game a number, I'd probably give it like a 7. And I don't think that will change. I think either it will stay as a 7, or maybe it'll lower if I find that in the later portions of the game it's getting even more repetitive. But we'll see. I think I'm not going to do a full review. I'm just going to leave it at this, just because I feel like this is an accurate representation of what the game is like. So it's up to you. Play the game if you want. Like, if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, I think you'll like it. But if you're not, wait for a sale. But that's gonna do it here, guys. I played the game on PC. I didn't really have any performance issues. I was playing on a 4080. I was getting well over 60 FPS the entire time. No crashes, nothing like that. I didn't really even have any like AI bugs or anything. So some people are saying this game is poorly optimized on PC, which aren't they all? But I didn't have any issues, so maybe you won't. I think that if you have a PlayStation Pro, apparently, according to Digital Foundry, this game is great on PlayStation Pro. I was so close to buying it for my Pro, but I was like, I'm in a PC mode. Like, you know, like I like to play my PC a lot, so yeah, I think for any platform it's gonna be okay. I assume that on the Series X it's gonna be good, but on Series S I can see this kind of having some issues. So take with that as you may. But that's my thoughts on the game. If you like what you see, hit that follow button, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. Are you playing AC Shadows? Let me know in the comments below. Definitely check out my Monster Hunter Wilds video, and I will be back with another video shortly. I appreciate all the comments and all the likes and everything, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. King Calf signing out. Peace.